you can actually really avoid that perpetual feeling of feeling stuck by simply taking action, and not action in a way that's almost obsessively the right next step, but is just a next step. And I'm going to talk about why. Today, while we're planting or repotting or potting for the first time some rosemary that I just got, this is actually a basil bush plant. It's really tiny basil, but it's so cute. And I mean, it just smells like the same thing, but I've really been wanting some basil for my spring rolls. And then I just had to grab some bok choy because that's a new obsession as well. But they need repotted. I actually might need to get another pot for more of the bok choy. So I used to basically feel perpetually like stuck. And like nothing was ever happening, I didn't know how to move the needle. Every time I tried, I felt like I could really only get so early into something, and it would, like, nothing ever felt like it was really working in a way that actually made sense to me. And there was also this really big fear that whatever I picked might be the wrong thing to try to do. And so it just kind of left me feeling more so stuck, truly, but also it really bred this lack of self-trust that, if you've been on my page the last month, you know I've been working on and really clocking, like, why does this keep coming up? What's actually going on in terms of, like, how can I gain self-trust and, like, actionable steps to do that? And so much of it I've realized is actually just showing up and being okay with showing up whatever percentage you're at for the day. Like, not only showing up when you feel 100%, which is really hard to do when you're trained to do things at your very best and, like, only put your best foot forward all the time. Like, just put a foot forward. It doesn't really matter, because what's happening whenever you are obsessed with the next right thing, one, there probably isn't actually a next right thing to do. There's just the next thing that you do. Whenever you're obsessed with the right thing, which I was for such a long time, it was reinforcing the fact that I felt like if I picked the wrong thing, that I couldn't trust myself to handle it or pivot or adapt. And I honestly think this makes a lot of sense for where we're at in society, because there might have been a decision that you made in the past that you desperately have been wanting to pivot from or change or shift and haven't been able to yet. So it almost feels like you have been stuck in the wrong decision, and that you don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to help yourself. You don't know how to get out of that stuck feeling or pivot your career or go after your dreams, because you picked this seemingly wrong thing. At the time, maybe it didn't feel so wrong, or you didn't know the implications of how bad that job would actually be for you or how trapped it would make you feel. And so it's reinforced that you can pick the wrong decision and then be stuck with the consequences of that decision. But the thing is, if you're trying to shift it now, you are then still currently handling it and taking care of yourself and taking care of your needs now. And it's actually really beautiful to find something where it's like, okay, this job or this person or this relationship did meet my needs at the time, and I am just a person that has evolved and changed. And now that my needs are different, I can pivot and I can trust myself to be able to do that now, and to really send a lot of love and thanks to the person that did choose where you are, because maybe it did benefit you in some ways, or maybe where you're at now is the only reason you would have been able to discover the thing you actually want to do. Or that it's not like, maybe it's a job or career that you had dreamed of before, and you get into it, and maybe there were moments that it did feel like a dream, and that's not to take away from that, but maybe you just got to a point where it's just different in your life, and there's actually like a shift and reason that makes you uniquely qualified for the next thing that you want to do because of this job you have, relationship you have. You have learned what you don't want, which is still really a phenomenal thing in life to learn. And so what happened to me specifically is that I felt like I got to this point where I just felt so stuck. And it was a lot to do with based on these past decisions that, okay, yeah, well, the next thing I need to do needs to be the right thing. And I need to know exactly what it is, and I need to know the entire big picture, right? So then I can protect myself from this feeling, which is really wanting to pivot and change and go after something different, which is a fine feeling to have. But it just can be kind of frustrating when you're in it and you're not taking action because you're waiting for the right action to appear. So what happened was that I just wasn't taking any action because I was waiting for the right one to reveal itself. And whenever I wasn't taking any action, there was no forward momentum, and there's no way you can know what you actually want to do, or make a mistake and be like, well, glad I learned, or try something you think you might not like, but like your friend said it was cool or whatever, and then learn like, oh, I actually really do like this thing. This thing really helps me center or ground or whatever it is. I actually really enjoy this. Like, I don't know, pottery, for instance. I ended up taking a pottery class a few years ago, and I realized how centered and grounded doing that made me. And I do get a very similar feeling to gardening. It's a little bit different. There's something about pottery that's like, it is so messy. You really have to be 100% in it. And that's like such a beautiful thing. I love things that it's like you can't pick up a device. You can't, like, you literally just can't. And you get to ground and center and be okay with the imperfection because you worked so hard at it. And I learned that that's something I really like. And I can't wait to get into a place where I could potentially do more of that, or take another class or something like that. Like that is on top of the list, and I know that because I tried it. It wasn't that taking that class was the right or wrong action. It was just something I was like really shy. I feel like I had at the time like no friends, and I was just like, I gotta try something. I can't just sit in my house all day and hope to meet someone at the door. Like, what am I doing? So really, it allowed me to put myself out there. And then as just an added bonus, it also allowed me to realize a hobby that I do quite enjoy and would like to prioritize at some point whenever I can. And even YouTube, I feel like, was just the next thing. It's just the next video. It's just the next, like, I don't feel attached to there being this right video, like, And there were probably times that I was a little bit more attached to that. And yeah, it was stressful. It was it was like, "Oh, you're only going to have this one chance." And your life is actually full of infinite chances. You can wake up and decide to do something new every single day. And that's awesome. We just stop because it's not, we forget that things are just things when we can just neutralize them and not attach our entire, like, I don't know, sense to the right thing. Because, yeah, I guess my whole point is there is no right thing, because if you trust yourself, it's just the next thing. And if it's wrong, you've learned something. If it's right, you've learned something. And that's all we're really after when we kind of feel stuck and we don't want to be stuck anymore. Like, I just was sick of feeling like nothing was ever moving. And there's also a difference between action and planning. And I know that sounds pretty obvious, but even I think we can trick ourselves into thinking that we are taking action by brainstorming and writing down all of our ideas and really fleshing them out. And there's times in your life where that's needed and that's fun and it's fine and it's not stopping you from anything. And there's times in your life that planning is really stopping you from actually living at all. But it feels in your body like something's happening, at least, because the action actually still feels really scary because it has the weight of it being right or wrong. And when we trust ourselves enough, we can just do the action and make the story about it later, figure out the story around it at a different day, and just do stuff, which is what we did when we were younger. We just tried things and went all in. It didn't really matter because nothing was right or wrong. We could, you know, decide to make this whole, like, I don't know, fort with all of our stuffed animals in the playground, like, backyard, whatever. Like, we just had this imagination, and then the next day, like, that doesn't exist. We're on to the next thing, and we're like just mermaids in the down by the stream. Like, it's just things that happen and nothing, but we were just so filled with just action that had no consequence, or no, like, not that it had no consequence, but like just action that didn't mean anything about us at all. It was just a thing that our imagination was like, ooh, do this. And whenever we become an adult, everything seems like it feels like it has to mean something and be important. And really, we're going to find our best and most potent creative selves to insert into our creative dream life through play. And you can't play without action. Like, brainstorming is not playing, planning is not playing. And I think it can just be really easy to confuse the two, or like convince yourself you're doing something because you're vibing it out, or you're setting it up. And that's just not the case. Like, so much more has happened in such a short amount of time for me when I've decided to take daily action towards something, at least. I do take weekends off from this, I would say, mental energy, because I really like the physical integration of feeling this. And sometimes they can, I'm I'm learning how to merge the two, but I think that's what I do in the weekends is merge the two, both physical and mental feeling of like living my life to the fullest and being able to take that space for socializing and actually integrating what I'm learning every single week because I am showing up every day and trying to share everything that I'm going through, especially as someone who has just started to begin to enter her Saturn return. And I just really want it to be as transformative as it can be. And I'm actually really excited for it, which might be funny to hear. And I don't know how I'll feel at the end of it, but I'm really just not shying away from the actions I need to take. And so much of that is all this Aries energy that we've been having, not only with the planets in Aries, but just like my personal signs in Aries and different things that are happening within my personal chart. It's just my season to take action. And I think that's another layer of this whole entire thing that I've really been able to clock and witness is that everyone's season is just going to be different. So there's actually nothing wrong with me being in this season of just like really quick, concise, daily, needle moving, action oriented energy. I probably won't always be in this energy, but right now it's the most supportive for my system and for where I want to go. And it almost feels like locking in, you might say, but it truly just feels like finding how I personally creatively fit and flow in my everyday. Like it doesn't feel like locking in the sense that I couldn't keep up with what I'm doing. It just feels like I'm learning how to integrate all of this stuff like as often as I can and just moving on and not sitting with things for so long and feeling stuck for so long. It's just so hard to feel so stuck and feel like you're doing things, but you're really not because you're convincing yourself that everything that like planning and doing all this stuff, like you're not actually taking an action step and moving forward. Um, so yeah, stop obsessing over the right action. Just take an action and learn from it. Decide if it's right or wrong later. And I don't know, you're just going to keep creating those stories around yourself, but you can update the story too. Something in the past could be like that you thought, oh, this has been wrong for me. You could wake up one day and be like, no, that was always leading to this moment. So it couldn't have been anything other than right for me, you know? So yeah, that's kind of what I want to leave with you with this week. And I just want you to know that doors are still open till tonight at midnight, April 10th, for the Kitchen Sink series, which is a 21-day of audio activations for self trust and building self trust. And we are basically in a Telegram group. And there is a channel that's just the audios if you don't want to get flooded with messages, because I know that can sometimes be overwhelming. But there is a chat element too. And the women in the group are able to bring forward kind of what's on their mind, maybe from the past audio or something that I can speak to exactly that day, which makes it really unique because the audios aren't pre recorded and they go out Monday through Friday. And yeah, all the audios that are already out, you'll have access to. And than all the ones coming out this month. And you will also have some extra time to fully download the episodes if you want to keep them. And yeah, have a direct line with me and the other women in the group. And I'm just really loving it and really excited for it. And yeah, doors close tonight at midnight for that. So if you're watching before then and you want to join, that'll be linked below. We've got our rosemary, we got our bush basil. We got some of these. I still have to plant these 3. Well, actually, one of them has 2. 2 of them have 2. Abundance. But yeah. And this is Bella, by the way. She's a little Shih Tzu. Oh, I'm sorry. And she is turning 13 this month. We love her. So yeah, that's all for today, for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys!